Okay, today we're going to learn how to do a flat wash, the first step in the watercolor series. So let's go. I'm Michelle Manriquez from Drop That Brush, and we try to help people who are non-artists become artists. Please like, subscribe, and ring that bell. There are 4 kinds of washes in watercolor. First one is the flat wash, and we're going to talk about that. Many people will use the flat wash who like to do lots and lots of layers, where you do a T strength and it goes layer after layer after layer. Some people will put 20 layers. This does happen. Personally, it's not my thing, but everybody should learn how to do it. Basically, you are using you're tipping up your board and you're using a bead and just moving the wash across a very even, that's your goal, is to make it an even wash. So it's just simply from the same as the top to the bottom. Doesn't always happen, that's okay. I don't freak out, but we're gonna see how it goes today. I am gonna use an 1/8 of a sheet of paper and 1 color. I don't care really what color as long as it's transparent, which is every dark color in your palette. If you want to print out the drawing on my Facebook page, Drop That Brush, and I'll make sure it's there. And here we go. Now, when I do a whole bunch of T values, it will eventually build up to a more darker value. So I'm just gonna spray everything, which is always my first thing. No matter what color you use, try to look for things that are dark in your palette, because that will have the full range of values. Whereas if I do this, let's do the first wash with the yellow. Now, how do I do a wash? Do the first wash first. All right, so we did my first wash. I've got this bead. The bead is how you know you're cool. I can sit and chat. As long as that bead's still there, I am not going to destroy my wash to do weird things. So I do another one. All right, now I'm looking at the bead. Okay, here's the bead. Now I'm not gonna go and grab water because that will thin this out, and I want nice, firm wash. So you see the bead? Keep coming. I touch it. I come down, I come down, I come down. Now I've lost the bead. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to come over here and I'm gonna tip. You see, I purposely made the bead come back. And that's how you get a good wash, is by simply touching it. Now here's what I don't want you to do, is I'm gonna go, oh, I didn't like this little part because it wasn't straight. So now I'm gonna come back through and play with this. When you're doing a wash, you put it on and keep coming. And you change your direction of the paper based upon where the wash is. So you can see it's still sitting there. It's gonna get a nice wash. So now I'm gonna end it. And what do I need to do at the end of it? Well, I'm gonna clean up. I'm going to actually try to make sure it's to be pretty dry. And I finish to make sure, because what's gonna happen is it'll run back and cause you difficulty. You're looking at how I have the different kind of values. This one is value 2, no matter what you do. I can have a light value, but if I keep putting this color on, it's still a value too. So I'm not gonna get this kind of effect where it gets darker. It isn't gonna get darker than what it is. If we are going to do, let's do a blue color. I'm going to do a T. Do you see the T? And I'm gonna start. Oh, what do you see? There's no water. So I'm gonna purposely quickly add some water. Okay, there's my water now. Now, I just touch it and bring it down. Now, if what you're doing doesn't work, it's because yours weren't doing this beautiful wash. It's because you don't have the bead. Right there, I don't have the bead. So I'm gonna add a little more color right here. See right there, you see I'm adding it. And I'm not getting water. I am going to the palette. Okay, so now I'm gonna do another one. Now, what I'm not gonna do is go back and play with that. I'm gonna stay right here. Now, what do I see? I can go quite a ways, but look what, all right, I've lost the bead. So I'm gonna add, again, I'm not going to water, but I am gonna make that bead. And the reason why is because then it gives me a chance to talk and chat. And so I'm gonna get a nice wash doing this if I keep that bead. Then if I want to be done, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna clean my brush. I'm gonna make it a thirsty brush, and I am going to pick it up, clean, make it thirsty. And that's how a basic wash happens. But I want you to understand that if you are we're gonna do our exercise, I wanna make sure that you need to do one of the darker colors. Anything that looks dark in your palette, you can use for the project. A flat wash is using a bead and bringing it down. Now let's say I decided I don't like a piece here. So I'm gonna come up here, I wanna show you what's gonna happen. And I'm like, okay, I didn't like that because you know what? I came over here and I want it to be really nice, right? Now I'm gonna let that do its own thing. What happens is we make a mess without even meaning to. This is damp. When things are damp, they make messes, which is okay if you don't mind playing a little. So I can do this and I can make fun little marks and stuff, and I'm okay with that. But you also need to know how to do this also. When I blow my wash totally, what I wind up doing frequently is doing this. That way I don't care. But this is what watercolor likes to do, is bad things. If you allow the watercolor to do bad things and not get too excited. Now, if you look, I don't know if you can see this. This was dry enough we don't get much of a blowback. But here, you can see this is very damp. I made that damp. Let's go with how to do a glaze. Now, once I have my first wash, I don't actually do it this way. I just want you to know how I do it. I do glazing though. So I'm gonna come here and I am going to get a T wash, a bead there too. And that's the only way we are going to make things look nice. So if I have a glaze and I bring it here, and I'm going to come over here, grab more water. If you need time. Basically, when you first start, it really helps to have a little bit of time. But this is how I would normally handle it. So I've got a wash, and I just go very quickly right on through. Done now. I don't have to do the bead because I just move it quickly. But if you cannot move it very quickly or you're thinking about it, just quickly put the bead back on and give you a chance to kind of pull yourself together. Again, start at the top. Don't touch that. Just barely touch the ends of it. Ooh, look, you see right here what I did? I put this on now. I thought that was dry, but I didn't test it. It's a little damp right here. And so obviously that was probably damp too. See, I'm getting a little back run right here because it must have been a little damp. Before I put a second wash on, it must be completely, absolutely dry. How do I make it dry? Well, I can blow dry it. You can wait. How do you know at what point is it dry? You put your hand here, and if when you touch it, it's cold. So it has to be, as your fingers, put your fingers down, it has to be totally warm. Or if not warm, at least not cold. If you feel any cold at all, it will mess you up. All right, so let's go ahead and start the exercise. This is just a simple exercise. I think I'm going to do, I really love the pinks, so I think I'm going to do it in pink just for the fun of it. I did not use tape because it just ripples and does weird things. The bigger the brush, the easier it is to do a big wash for like sky or whatever. It's easier because I can just move it across really quick, done now. But if I only have one brush, this is an 8th sheet, I'm gonna show you how to do it with the 12. Now, I'm going to keep it T strength. Why am I gonna keep it T strength? Well, if I make it darker and I'm putting layers or glazes on, it will actually get darker and I will get some darker I may not want. So I'm gonna make, now why am I gonna make a whole bunch? Well, if I don't have a whole bunch, I will have to stop in the middle and I'll have to then make it. And sometimes I'd still have to. That's a lot, a big piece of paper. So I really got to make sure I have lots of juice, man. You don't want to stop in the middle and have to do this. But because of the bead, I can if I need to. So I want you to look. This is pretty tea-like. I think I need a little more tea. In fact, I'm gonna go more tea, which means add more water. I can see the bottom. See, I can see the bottom. If I can see the bottom, that always tells me that I am, and you can see I'm still adding more water. I'm trying to make sure I don't get too dark. And I'm gonna try to stay in tea strength or milk strength, depending upon how each wash goes. So, okay, here we go. We're gonna start at the top. You don't wanna start down here or pit stop in the middle and start here. We start at the top, we go down. And no matter what kind of wash you do, this is actually how you do it, is start from the top and come down. So I'm gonna scoop up a whole bunch of water. And I'm scooping, and I'm trying to make sure I get a good bead. I'm more concerned about making sure that bead's there than actually painting it. I just want to make sure I got that bead because, okay, can you guys see it? So there's a nice, beautiful bead. Now, I'm not going to go back and play with that. I'm just going to barely touch it and come across. Now, I'm looking, probably going to need more bead there. I'm gonna add the bead again to make sure that I don't get messes. Okay, now I can sit and chat right now, but if I don't have that big, thick bead, I immediately get a mess. Now, you see here, I've decided that's gonna be a white area, and we're gonna see if we can keep it white. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. So again, I am touching the bead. I'm not coming back here. I'm touching the bead. Oh, now I can see, look what happened. Look, look, look. It's starting to, I'm starting to get kind of a dry brush effect. That's not what I was trying to do. And so I'm immediately coming here and making sure that there's plenty of juice. Okay, that's good. And I want you to pay attention to how your brush is handling this. Is it drying? If it starts to dry, then you immediately have to adjust it. So, okay. So now I'm going to show you how I would handle a white area. Now, I'm not going to keep that bead over there. I keep the bead here and here. And I'm going to keep the bead. Now, I want you to see something. Can you see here where it's kind of puddling in there? But I'm looking to see, where is that bead at? Do I have bead over there? And I'm over here working the bead to make sure that the bead continues. Again, when you're getting good at this, I move. I don't sit and play. I don't mess around. I bring it down as quickly as I can. So I'm going to show you how I normally do it. I've got a chance, before I go, I've got to get the rest of this covered with paint. So I'm just going to put more water. I'm moving now. Let's go. Okay, I've got no bead, so I'm working that real fast. And I missed it. Oh my God! I got into the roof. So what? It doesn't really matter. I don't understand why people worry about little stuff like that. It just is not that important. And I will just let it. By the way, I'm going backwards. Normally I do it this way. It's something about how I'm holding my brush, but normally I go this way. So now I can see. And I am just as quickly as I can. And you can see now I'm getting a dry brush there, so I'm gonna go ahead and add. Now, again, you see these little spots that I didn't quite hit? I'm leaving it alone. I'm not just freaking out. Now you can see here, I also did not make the edges. I don't care, it's not important. I will adjust later. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I'm kind of moving quickly. Now, that's totally how I do it. I let little speckles. Now, do you guys see at the bottom of this, right here, I have some extra juice. So what are you gonna do? You're going to tap it and gather that up. I have a little gap there. Do I need to fix that? No, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'll hit the next wash. Now I has to dry. I'm looking at this. It's now totally dry. I think I should have been more tea. I think I'm more closer to milk than tea as I'm looking at it. Also, I meant to make that white. Oops, I'm not worried about it. I'm gonna fix it, no big. But I managed to leave that white spot white. And I will show you how I kind of fix it later. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just enjoying the process. Since I feel that I did not get enough more tea-ish, how would you do that? You add more water. Now, see how much a huge pull I have? It's really wiggly. Oh yeah, that's moving pretty good. That's gotta be tea. Let's see. Maybe that just looks dark. Why would it look dark? Well, because this is white, so it looks really dark. But we're probably at a 3, maybe 4, but I think about 3. And I was hoping for a 2. But let's go ahead. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to do a wash that goes all the way down to here, and I'm going to make it very tea strength. Keep adding more water. You guys see I'm just frantically adding more water because this is a bossy color too. I didn't realize it's very bossy. Okay. I want to show you what I did. I blew this, right? I'm not going to worry about fixing it. I may fix it later. It may not be perfect, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue voiding that, And this time I'm gonna remember to skip that. So here we go. And what do? We start at the top. And we're looking for the bead. We want the bead, particularly when you have a small brush. And I'm going right through. I'm not going, oh, that's a house. I'll do that separately. No, it's all a piece of. Now, I want to pit stop and make sure that I don't mess this up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a whole bunch of water. Oops, look at that. I've got this little boo-boo. Now, if I don't grab that, I'm gonna do a thirsty brush, and I'm just gonna kind of move that away because I'm trying to avoid that thing that I missed last time. Oh, wait a minute, I'm looking over here. I'm looking at what, I'm seriously looking. So over here, I can see that this has no bead, and this has no bead. And I'm pretty calm if as long as I have the bead, this really isn't a big deal. So I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna hit that. Okay. Now, I have to be careful because I kind of just didn't bother to do anything here. This is a big wash, and the problem is when you have big washes, it's easier if you have a bigger brush. But we're going to do this. I want you to understand it's not that it can't be done. I'm looking at this. Am I hitting the lines perfect? No, and I don't really care. It's not that important. We're just practicing a wash. So let's go. We're gonna move it. We're gonna move it. We're gonna, oh, I did it again. Oh, how funny. Okay, so take this, show you what I do. I'm just gonna go like that. Deep. I grabbed a dry brush, and I just did that, and I'm not too worried about it, but it's easy enough to fix while I'm just playing. All right, so, oh, what happened here? Now that means I don't have enough juice. And you can see I'm pretty mellow. Make sure you guys can see this. And I'm actually going backwards because it's the way I'm handling myself. So now I'm looking. I meant to get that covered this time. Okay. I'm making sure that I don't have a back run coming through, so I'm drawing it. If you have tape, you really have to make sure that everything's dry. I want to show you something so you recognize. Remember I said if you just add another wash and you leave things alone because we can come back and fix if we really need to. You see how this is a little bit choppy. It's not a clean, totally clean wash, right? Well, after I put the second wash on, it's very clean and washed. So sometimes when you're trying to say, oh my God, I don't like how that looks, just wait. Frequently, this will all fix itself. I like a soft edge. And so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to force myself to not mess that up again. And then I'm going to put it here, and you're gonna see why. And here. And I'm just, can you see? I hope you can see it. Now I'm gonna, once I start doing that, I gotta be a little faster. But I want to paint this area and have soft edges on it. All right, here we go. Going back. Now I'm looking at this. I think I'm going to thicken it up just a touch. I'm looking at the color. Now, I don't have the bead. Now again, because I do it really fast, I don't normally need the bead, but you know, we're practicing. Sideways of the brush. Okay, so what it did is this allowed it to have not a soft edge, and it just makes me happy. So, you know, so I'm coming back up. We start at the top. I'm going to try to hit. I'm trying to go hit the where I wasn't very careful. Okay, so I took a little time more on that one. Again, looking at the bead, looking at the bead, looking at the bead. But I'm being a little more careful. You guys can see that. I'm going to sop that back up because I want a soft edge, but, and how did let me show you how I did that. Oh, wait a minute. I got detoured here. Let's put a little color, a little there so it doesn't do bad things. So I'm grabbing my brush, I'm quickly getting it really dry, and I'm kind of just moving it, trying to make that a soft edge. Ooh, I changed it up, and now that's a little darker. That was a whoops. So back to T. And again, am I gonna now carefully fix this? No, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm going right through. What happened? That's already dry. So that means I'm gonna probably soften an edge, which we'll have a whole class on softening edges. Now, I have enough bead here. Do I have enough bead here? And the answer is no. So, all right, so my thing to keep it a little soft on the edge, ooh, what's happening? Right here. What's happening is there is a little run back. Now again, I like this. This isn't to me a bad thing. I'm just tapping it, making sure it's really, really at the end. You can see all I'm doing is cleaning, squeezing. Okay, that's my third wash. I'm going to go and blow dry it. Kind of looking at the values. I'm somewhere in between these values, that third wash. I don't like that. I obviously missed that. And so I have this little shape, and I'm looking at it and thinking, okay, is that important? Do I need to help with the house? I'm gonna wait until I get the house done and take a look. I don't like this hard line right here. Again, I notice it, I know I see it, but I'm gonna think about it. All right, here we go. Another wash, you ready? Now I'm just going the house now. What am I doing? I've got my lovely wash. I'm coming down, I'm coming right all the lines. We're not worried about the lines, but just where I need the shape needs to be taken care of. Keeping that very now, you know, there's like little weeds and things. Those are my little weeds. Okay, now I can see I'm gonna have an issue if I'm not quickly to get some color there. Now I'm gonna let that sit there. It ain't gonna hurt anything. And then I'm gonna clean it up in just a second. Okay. So now I'm going to clean it, tap it, squeeze, and grab out that extra clean, squeeze, now, again, I'm not into having hard edges, so I'm purposely going to kind of tap this up and try to get a little movement here. So I'm gonna squeeze, and I'm just gonna soften an edge. And it's not a real soft edge, it's just to kind of say, oh yeah, there may be something there. I don't know what it is, but whatever. Okay. Now, let me see, I'm playing with it. So what's gonna happen? I'm probably gonna get a blossom. Maybe not, but most likely, and I can see little blossoms coming. So if I hadn't played, it would have been probably perfect, but oh well. Final wash. We know that the sun's hitting here, so this will be the lighter side of the house. This will be the darker side of the house. So now I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna go ahead and go for a darker wash. So it really pops that side out. Right now it's kind of subtle. I am increasing the strength of the wash, and it's more like milk. So this is gonna be my final wash. So here we go. Now what happened, I really want you to pay attention. What's gonna happen? I don't really have a bead, which means I have to move because otherwise it won't work. So I am as quickly as I can. See, one thing about keeping it T-strength, you can get a really nice wash, but the minute you can see, look what's happening. I'm getting these all these lines. And so you can see I'm just moving it. Oh, and there should be like a little line here. Attaches that. There you go. I see, if you stay in the T range, it moves and you have lots of money. But if you're gonna go into milk or cream, you're gonna get a pretty, it doesn't move as well. It's harder to use it that way. So if I was doing a big wash, I would not be using that. That would be a problem. I'm looking at this. What annoys me? Well, I thought that would annoy me, but I've kind of let it go. That's not a problem. One thing that I didn't like, this did not match that. And I thought it looks weird. So, and do I care about that? Is it so bad that I have to fix it? I can see there's a value change, and I think I'm okay with that. So now I'm looking for what's important. What do I actually need to fix? And most of it's nothing, as far as I'm concerned. I like it. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna soften this. I'm gonna use, I know that this is a little harder to get rid of, because this is it kind of is like a Linser and Crimson. It just doesn't quite. And you want to see what I'm doing as I'm, okay, see how I'm doing it. Sorry. So here I am, I'm tapping, I'm squeezing, and I'm just kind of touching it. Now you can already see that because I made that change, that affected the paper and what it does. That's why I don't worry about fixing things, because a lot of times it makes it worse. So if you had a little bit of a hard time to do this, it's a practice thing. You will learn it, I promise. And even if you messed it up, we'll make it into a bush or something. No worries. Next week, the graded wash. That's the one that I really use the most of. One part it's a little lighter, one is a little darker. I like that. And it really works when you're doing value ranges. So like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And you know what? When you're painting and you have no idea what you're doing, drop that brush. You have a great day. Bye.